In this video, I will give a brief explanation on power converters. So the types of power electronic circuits are rectifiers, that is AC to DC converters, AC voltage controllers, that is AC to AC converters, choppers, DC to DC converters, and inverters, which is DC to AC converters. So you have studied in linear electronics regarding the rectifiers which we design using diodes. Those are called as diode rectifiers. Those diode rectifiers are known as uncontrolled rectifiers. Diode rectifiers are known as uncontrolled rectifiers. Why is it called so? Because the rectifier, either it is a half wave, full wave or bridge rectifier, once we give the input to the circuit, the diode will start conducting in case it is forward biased. In case it is reverse biased, that means it is in the off state. We cannot have a control on the turn on or turn off. That's why we call it as uncontrolled rectifiers. Whereas if we use thyristors in the place of diode in either half wave mode or full wave mode, we call it as controlled rectifiers. I'll explain you in next why actually we call it as a controlled rectifier. Next, coming to AC voltage controllers. So AC conversion, fixed AC is converted to variable AC voltage. DC choppers, DC to DC converters, fixed DC is converted to variable DC. Similarly, inverters, fixed DC is converted to variable AC, and the last one is static switches. So each of these converters, power converters, we will look one by one. So first you have the rectifier, which is the uncontrolled rectifier using the diode. This circuit you will be familiar with because you have learned it in linear electronics. So we'll see how actually this circuit works. This is the supply which we give. It is the input supply. We have a transformer here. Okay. So this is our input, which is our supply. And this is a full wave rectifier. We will see how the circuit works. On applying the input, during the positive half cycle of this input, the diode will conduct, right? The diode will conduct and the current flows in this direction. Clear? Yes? So you have a voltage drop. You have the voltage across the resistor. So this polarity is plus and this is minus. So treating that polarity to be positive, we have the output voltage as positive. That is nothing but across the resistor. So what will happen during the negative half cycle? During this negative half cycle, the voltage is negative, right? Then this is plus, this is minus, this is plus, this is minus. So what will happen is, this is off. This diode D1 is off, whereas diode D2 is on. So the current flows in this direction. So across the resistor, during both positive half as well as negative half, the current flows in the same direction. That means the voltage across the resistor is positive both during positive half cycle as well as negative half cycle. Here our D1 is conducting, D1 is on, whereas here in this, that is during negative half cycle, our D2 is on. Clear? This is called as uncontrolled rectifiers. Our fixed AC gets converted to fixed DC. This is the uncontrolled rectifier. That means once you apply the supply, diode will conduct if the input voltage exceeds the cut-in voltage of it. Now we will see how can we design a controlled rectifier. So controlled rectifier, which is AC to DC converters using thyristor. So in a diode, in this circuit what we have, in the place of diode we have thyristors. It is replaced by the thyristors. Okay. So now how actually this circuit is going to work? If we look into the waveform, it looks similar. Both your input as well as output is same. But what is actually changing here? So we'll have a look into it. So first our input is AC. This is what the AC voltage is. Okay, we will consider during positive half and during negative half separately. First we will consider the positive half. Okay, so during positive half of the input, the polarity of the input voltage is indicated in the figure. So its magnitude is Bm sin omega t. That is what we have drawn here. Next, when this thyristor is going to conduct. So during the positive half cycle, this thyristor is forward biased. Okay, forward biased, but it will not conduct. So when it is going to start conducting? When you apply a gate signal to this. You have studied in the previous lectures, thyristor has 3 terminals. So if I draw the symbol of thyristor like this is anode, this is cathode, and you have one more terminal which you call it as gate. So you have to apply the gate voltage. You need to apply voltage to the gate with respect to cathode. So you can apply the gate voltage at any instant of time. That is why you call it as a controlled rectification process. Okay, even though rectification is happening here, you call it as controlled rectification because you apply the gate signal, only then it is going to conduct. So you can observe in the output waveform over here, they have mentioned an angle called as alpha. This alpha is called as the firing angle. Okay, that means at this position, at this instant, alpha, from 0 to alpha, you have not applied any gate signal. At instant alpha, you are going to apply the gate signal. So what will happen? The thyristor starts conducting at this particular point. Clear? So till then, the thyristor is not conducting. So when thyristor is not conducting, there is no current flowing through resistor R. So the voltage across the thyristor will be same as that of the supply voltage. Once the thyristor starts conducting, that is at alpha, the current flows through this. Then what is the voltage across the resistor? If we neglect the thyristor drop, the voltage across the resistor will be equal to the input voltage. So if we want to draw it very clearly, very precisely, we can draw the output voltage as, okay, this is our axis. I'll draw the output voltage. This is our firing angle alpha at this instant. From 0 to alpha, there is no current flowing through the resistor R. That means what is the voltage drop across resistor R? It is 0. Clear? Next, once the thyristor starts conducting, the current flows through this. So what is the voltage across the resistor? Voltage across the resistor is equal to the supply voltage if we neglect this voltage drop across the thyristor. Then your voltage across the resistor will be same as that of the input voltage, which is shown by this pattern, hatching pattern. Is that clear? So this is actually your output voltage. Next, after 180, that means during negative half cycle, this is reverse biased. Which one? Thyristor T1 is reverse biased, whereas thyristor T2 will be forward biased. Again, you have to apply the gate signal. Okay, that is at this instant. Again, there is a duration of alpha. So this particular instant or the angle, you write it as pi plus alpha. Pi is 180 degree, again alpha. So this particular instant is pi plus alpha. So from pi to pi plus alpha, again your thyristor is not conducting. Thyristor T2 is not conducting. So after the angle pi plus alpha, the thyristor T2 starts conducting. Once it starts conducting, the current flows in this direction. Okay, so direction of the current through the resistor are the same. That's why again we get a positive voltage. This is actually your output voltage. This one is your output voltage. So always remember, if you have a circuit of this kind, whenever thyristor is conducting, always neglect its drop. Its voltage drop, it will be around 0.7 to 0.9. Okay, whenever the thyristor is conducting, the voltage across it will be 0.7 to 0.9. You can neglect it for theoretical purpose. Yeah. Next, and you note a point that for a circuit of this kind, when the thyristor is on, the voltage across it, we take it as almost negligible, which is 0. Clear? If thyristor is off, the voltage across the thyristor, we take it almost equal to the supply voltage. This you have to remember. Is that clear? So this way of controlled rectification, which occurs due to the applying of gate signal, is called as controlled rectification. So applying the signal to the gate, you call it as triggering. Okay, triggering of the thyristor. Hope this is clear. So you understood what is meant by diode rectifiers. You have understood what is meant by controlled rectifiers, which is using the thyristor. Next, we will move on to AC converters. So fixed AC gets converted to variable AC. So this device, semiconductor device used here is triac. Triac is tri-electrode AC semiconductor switch. It is equivalent to two thyristors connected in anti-parallel. Say suppose you have, this is one thyristor, okay. You will have one more thyristor this way. These two has to be connected in anti-parallel. This is nothing but a triac. So the current can flow in this direction during positive half cycle. During negative half cycle, the current can flow in this direction. It is a bidirectional device. So this is triac. So how actually it works? So during positive half cycle of your input, one thyristor is going to conduct. During negative half cycle, again the current will flow through the another thyristor. So we were looking into this circuit. I'll explain you how actually you get this waveform. So during positive half cycle, the current flows to the triac. That means the triac conducts. Again, it is a controlled device. You can see the gate terminal here. You have to trigger the gate, then only the device is going to conduct. Otherwise, it is only forward biased. So the current flows in this direction during the positive half cycle. So with the polarity plus and minus as you have it in this figure. So this gate is triggered at an instance alpha. So what happens during negative half? During negative half cycle, the current flows in the opposite direction. It flows in the opposite direction. Thereby, your polarity will change to this is plus and this is minus. So you can observe here it is positive during positive half and negative during negative half, because you can see during positive half this is plus minus the polarity, next during negative half the direction of the current is changed, and you can see that the gate is triggered at an angle alpha. So you have the firing angle is alpha. Fixed AC gets converted to variable AC. Always remember, for AC to AC conversion you have to use a bidirectional current carrying device or bidirectional current carrying capability device. Next, we go for DC to DC converters. Here, your fixed DC is converted to variable DC. So you can observe here this particular transistor which is operated as a switch, and this is IGBT, right? So IGBT has three terminals. This is gate, this is collector, and this is emitter. So you have applied the input which is a fixed DC. Fixed DC is not drawn here. I will draw here. See, so this is the input. Okay. This is your fixed DC, which is your input, DS. Now, turning on and turning off of your transistor is controlled by the gate to emitter voltage which you are going to apply. You can see here, it is a signal of duration T1. So T1 to T, it is off. So the duty cycle is given by on period by the total time period. So whenever you apply the gate signal during this interval, the transistor is on. Here the transistor is off. That repeats. So whenever the transistor is on, the current flows through the load. In case the transistor is off, there is no current flowing through the load. Why do we have a diode here? This diode is in case you have an inductive load. This diode is required. Whenever there is an inductive load, when this transistor is in the off state, the current has to flow right to a path. So the current flows like this path. So it freewheels. So you call it as a freewheeling diode. So the fixed AC gets converted to variable DC. So all these converters we will study in detail in the upcoming videos, both for a resistive load as well as for an inductive load. This is your average output voltage V0, which is equal to duty cycle into the supply voltage. And the last one is DC to AC converters, which is otherwise known as inverter. This almost everyone might be familiar. This is inverter. So how actually it is converted? You can observe MOSFET here, right? These are the four MOSFETs. It is a bridge configuration. The input again here is DC, which is not drawn. I'll just draw the input for you. This is the x-axis, y-axis, and input is fixed DC. So voltage across the load will be either positive or negative depending upon the gate signal which is applied to this MOSFETs M1, M3, M2 and M4. And care should be taken that the devices in the same leg will not conduct. Say suppose this is one leg and this is the second leg. We should see that M1 and M4 will not conduct same time, as well as M3 and M2 will not conduct at the same time. So what has to be done? So you have to make M1 and M2 conduct. After that M3 and M4 has to conduct. So how the current flows when M1 and M2 is conducting? So when we apply the gate signal for M1 and M2, the current flows in this direction. Okay, that's why we have this polarity as plus and minus. So that potential, that polarity being treated as positive. Next, when M3 and M4 is triggered, or you have applied the gate signal, DC is same, right? It will not change the direction. So current flows like this. This conducts through the load M4 and this way up. So through the load, it is flowing in this direction. So this is plus and this is minus. That's why you can see here it in the negative direction. So from a fixed DC, you are going to get a variable AC. This is DC to AC converters, or otherwise known as inverter. And the last one is the static switches, wherein the all semiconductor devices which you use for conversion purpose is used as a switch. So how actually you design any power electronics equipment? As I have explained you during the introduction class, power electronics is a combination of power, electronics and control. So you have to design power circuit. You have to select which type of semiconductor device I am going to use for which application. After selecting it, we have to see what kind of control design is required, and for the semiconductor device we have to give suitable protection schemes. We have to design suitable protection schemes, as well as for applying input to the gate of the transistors or for the thyristors, we need to design a gating circuit for it. So with these things you can design any power electronics equipment. So when we are designing a power converters, what are its effects? So you can observe here you have a power converter. Okay, power converter, when we have, I have told you, you need to have a control strategy for it. So you have a control design for it, and the power source, it can be either AC or DC. Your output can be either AC or DC. All these supplies will have harmonics in it, right? It will have some disturbance. So for that to remove, you have to add a filter at the input side, as well as you have to add a filter at the output side in order to remove all the disturbances or the harmonics which are present. So this is the diagram of a typical power electronic converter. You can see this is our main supply. Okay, you have a filter here. This is like the input filter. You have the power circuit, which should also incorporate the protection schemes. You have the load, which is the output. This is the output filter. These are the feedbacks. Feedbacks is required, right? It should be a closed loop system. Then only you will get an accurate result. Then to drive the gate of the transistors or the gate of the thyristors, we need a driver circuit. So this is the driver circuit. So you need an isolation for controller to driver, because one will be a high power device and the other one will be a low power device. So we need to have a suitable isolation circuit for controllers, power circuits, as well as your feedback. So overall, your power electronics will deal with the study of power semiconductor devices. When you study power semiconductor devices, you have to study its ratings. You have to see what are the characteristics of it. So what is the capacity it can withstand. And different power converter topologies. So whether we need to go for inverter, chopper, rectifier or AC voltage controller. Next comes to the design of the controller. We need to decide on the control strategy. And when coming to the driver circuit for a gate or for the base of the transistors or thyristors, we can design it in analog or digital. Usually we go for digital designing. Okay. Next is once it is a power circuit, obviously you will have capacitance in it, you will have inductance in it. So we have to take care of its design also. And most of the industries, it deals with machinery. So we have to take care of the rotating device as well as the static electrical devices. And we have to look into the quality of the waveform which is being generated. We should have a pure waveform without most of the disturbance. And we have to look into what are the harmonics, what kind of harmonics is being present, and we have to try to eliminate as far as possible. So with this, I hope you have understood the power converters in brief. So in detail, we will study power converters in the upcoming videos. Thank you.